You know, there's something very magical about Friday, not because it's going to be a weekend, but because there's something that is going to challenge you to sit back and say, what did I do with the rest of the days that passed, Monday through Thursday? And it will also give you that punch, that focus that next week, the following week, I'm going to make a difference. Welcome to Friday with Mr. B. My name is Johnson Mwakazi. This is the place where you meet this man, a mentor, Mr. Bedan Mbugua, journalist of over 30 years, who has fought and is still fighting to see Kenya becomes that country we call home, true home, where we are all comfortable, where we share together. His resolve for years has been the fight against corruption. You know, currently we are focusing on the Ministry of Planning and Devolution.
Yes.
And Madam Waiguru, Anne Waiguru, the Cabinet Secretary, is really on the spotlight. In fact, there are calls for her to step aside. And we've seen other Cabinet Secretaries stepping aside. The notion created outside is that something is being done when somebody steps aside. How do we deal with this? Because
why you have found that I'm very reluctant to join in all that is that because of the way we have been dealing with the corruption, the first we lament. Corruption is very bad. Corruption has destroyed everything. Corruption has taken even medicine from the patient. It has been a big conspiracy against the poor. After all that, then we start to look, because we are very angry. And I like Kenyans the way they are angry about that corruption. They are angry. And so when people are angry, they look now for a scapegoat. And even if Waiguru has, they have to follow on her own matter, taking all the necessary details and following the course of the law. That has to be done. Because the law is not a respecter of Waiguru, nor a respecter of so-and-so. But we must also know, after we have put passion and a determination, like now the way they have done on Waiguru, especially CORD, then if she is told to step aside, we take a sigh of relief.
finally something has been done. And then we forget about it.
And then we forget about it. So if there is a way we are protecting the corruption in Kenya, is that way. Is that way. We should not use our energy that it is there. I'm sure every Kenyan today has witnessed millions, all of us collectively. We have witnessed corruption in million incidences today. Why have you not reported, you Kenyan? Why haven't you taken action, even instead of reporting? That's the way we are going to wipe out corruption. Now when the first group went, Akina Ngilu, Akina Kamau of the roads, we thought, we took a relief. But now we have forgotten. Nobody has gone to prison. So, myself and I'm urging Kenyans, let's avoid being misled through that type of strategy. The strategy that is going to work is for us to start gathering critical mass of people who say no, and then we start to focus on this corruption here. We must deal with it. We, as public.
We must.
If it is in KRA, we, the people of Kenya, we are going now to have critical of mass that will say, because the other thing about corruption, you experience alone, and you pay whatever you are supposed to pay. Then the other person pays, but because it's corruption, you don't say, and the other one doesn't say, and the other one doesn't say. So you cannot know that today in KRA there were 200,000 people who have experienced corruption, or cabs, or where small business go for licenses, or traffic police. And so we must now start to find a way of having partners, maybe like Safaricom, who has capability for communication, maybe Transparency International, maybe the anti-corruption, maybe with all individuals who start like we are doing with the small businesses. Let's make commitment we will not participate in corruption. And we bring that together as a critical mass.
That's very clear. In fact, that that one will form one of our, call to action points by the time we'll be winding up. But I need you to come in to talk about this. There's a new phenomenon coming up where we sarcastically present corruption cases. For instance, the wheelbarrows that cost hundreds of thousands of shillings, some curtains. And comedians have taken that up and they make fun of all that. And Kenyans sit back and they laugh about it. And it's not, at the end, it doesn't seem to be serious.
Yes. One time I was involved in food security in Southern Africa, sub-region. And I asked about 2,000 people who had come so that we find ways to attack famine. And I asked them, what do you hate most? They said the cobra. And then I said, suppose I tell you there's cobra in the grass where you are standing. And they started panicking.
Fear.
Yeah?
Right.
And I asked them, how many people has cobra killed in the last 2 years? They couldn't remember anybody. 3 years, they couldn't remember. 10 years, they remembered 2. So I'm giving you to show that all those things, comedians making us laugh about the wheelbarrows that cost so much, it is a way of really making corruption kind of a laughing matter.
Exactly, but it's not.
But it's like, why use the cobra? How can you make fun of that venom?
You can't.
And when I told them that famine killed almost 80 million people in Ethiopia in 83, 84, that's when they realized, hey, it's better a cobra. So this is like that famine that killed. It's worse than that famine that killed 8 million Ethiopians. Corruption is worse.
Kills the whole nation.
It kills the whole nation. And it kills not only the nation, even the future of those who are not yet born. And so, this is not a laughing matter when we are dealing with the corruption. That's the bottom line.
It's not a laughing matter. We want to come back and remember, Friday with Mr. B is not just about talk. Things must be done. So when we come back, we want to look at very key areas, very key action points that we can, you and I, begin to implement to see the very end of corruption in this country. We'll be right back.